Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. And yes, this is a voiceover because for whatever reason my mic did not work. So we are finishing up the little journal that we started yesterday. And what I've done is when I closed the camera off yesterday, I just sewed around the 3 edges there and then on the top of those. And then now I will say that I should have glued around or sewn around the top of those and then stuck those outside flaps down before I sewed around the entire thing. So what I'm doing right now, I'm just looking for the other file folder that I use with some book page on it because we're going to make the little pulls that we're going to wrap the little paper around. And the other thing that you need is 4 pieces at 4 inches by 1.5 inches because that's what's going to make our gusset for our inside pockets. And I am using the scrapbook paper. On the other one, I use some regular book page, but it doesn't feel like it's sturdy enough for me. So all you want to do is take those pieces that are cut at 4 inches by 1.5 inches. You want to fold it in half. And then once you get it folded in half like that, you want to fold it back in half again. And so I'm just going to do that with all 4 pieces. And again, I should have probably done that off camera, but I wasn't thinking. And like I said, just make sure on the outside pockets, if you're going to sew around that top flap, then glue those outside pockets on and then sew around the entire folio so that it will catch the sides as well. I did not remember to do that on this one, so they are not sewn. And I am still just trying to get these folded because I should have done it, ahead of time. But that's the thing, guys. Y'all are going to get the real me on this channel. And I do stupid, crazy stuff all the time. I forget things and like with the mic, I have no idea what the deal is with my mic. Maybe it's dead. I don't know. But at any rate, I have to figure out this voiceover. So almost done doing the last one. Man, that took a while. That's probably what took me the longest in this entire folio. Yep, folding those little things. You could score them. I probably should have tried to score them. I don't know. I probably still couldn't have scored them. So now that we've got that done, we just want to make sure that we have our folio facing the correct direction. This is the outside here. And so I am going to go ahead and glue my pockets down. And this is when I realized, you should have sewn and then glued and then sewn again. But you know me, guys. So I'm looking to make sure I have it about the same space away. It's probably about 1/8 of an inch off of that spine. And so now I just need to glue around the 3 sides there. And just making sure that I have it lined up. Again, it's about 1/8 of an inch off of that spine. And just make sure it's pressed down really good. And then once I have that, I'm going to do the exact same thing to the other side. Again, I'm just gluing down the 3 sides there. And then again, just making sure about 1/8 of an inch off of that spine and try to line it up even with the other side there. And just make sure everything looks good. Make sure it's holding down really good before you go moving it. And then once I'm satisfied with how that looks, and that's where I was saying that I should have sewn it, but you know. Okay, so now that I'm satisfied with how that looks, I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to glue the little gussets onto the flaps there. And so you want to have it where it's facing in. So I'm just going to glue it down just maybe a quarter of an inch from the bottom. I don't want it going all the way to the bottom because I want to have that, let that bottom really grab against the folio. So left it about a quarter of an inch or so from the bottom. And again, just make sure the gusset's open towards the inside there. And just doing the exact same thing on this side that I done on the other side. And that just gives you a little bit of wiggle room, like you could put more stuff in the pocket. You don't have to do the gussets if you don't want to. If you're going to send it as flat mail, you can skip the gussets, but I just put the gussets because it does give you more room to put more ephemera or, you know, whatever you're going to be putting in it. And so now we're doing the exact same thing to the other pocket. And again, just leaving about a quarter of an inch from the bottom, just to make sure that that bottom has something to grab onto. And now just getting to the other side, the exact same thing, just make sure that it's open to the inside and gluing that one down. And I think this is probably the fussiest part of the entire process is those little gussets. So definitely if you don't, if you don't think you'll be putting a lot in it and you want to skip the gussets, by all means, go for it. And so again, I want to put it down. I want to leave about maybe 1/8 of an inch from that spine. And I'm trying to get it about the same distance from the spine as I have the pockets on the other side, because when I sew it down, I want it to catch the pockets on the front as well as the back. And so I'm just using some Fabri-Tac here because I want to make sure that that's glued down really well. So I'm just gluing those two gussets and along the bottom there. And just making sure I'm about 1/8 of an inch off of that spine, getting it lined up, and then waiting until my glue grabs because it is a little thicker and heavier, so I really want to make sure that it grabs really good before I go moving anything. And just press it down, or get your bone folder and press it down really good. Okay, and it's pretty much dry there. I'm just waiting for it to finish drying, and it looks like it's dry. So now I'm going to glue the other side down. Same thing, just wanting to get the Fabri-Tac on the two gussets and along the bottom. And I'm using the Fabri-Tac just because if I put it quite a bit in the pockets or, load it up, I want to make sure that it holds good. And so again, I'm trying to stay about 1/8 of an inch away from that spine, about the same that I did on the front side, so that when I sew it all down, it will catch everything. So I'm just going to push down really good. I want that glue to really get into that paper. And just holding it there for a second, just to make sure it's nice and dry, or at least holding, maybe not necessarily dry, but at least holding. And it's looking good. So the other thing that we need to do now is the little, and I'm showing you there where I should have sewn that, and I can't go back and sew it because if I were to sew it now, it would catch the gussets and it would defeat the purpose of having the gussets on it. So that was one of my goofy mistakes. So now we want to put the little eyelets in that we use for the closure on the inside. And I'm just taking my crocodile and I'm just punching a hole in both sides at the same time just so that they'll be even. And I am just going to grab an eyelet. And I'm going to attempt to put my eyelet in there. But I don't know, I was having the most trouble with that one eyelet for some reason. It was crazy. Those are like some of the easiest things to do, and that one was giving me such a fit today. But that's okay, because I won. I got it in there. See, I'm still struggling with it. Can y'all believe that? Who struggles with an eyelet like that? Me? All right, so now I just need to stick the other eyelet in. And just crimp it down really good. All right, and so the only string that I could find, which it actually ended up matching pretty decent, so I'm okay with it, was some sort of, it might have even been from Halloween or Thanksgiving or something. It was some orange and white twine. Then I realized that, oh, not only should you have glued that pocket down, but you forgot to ink it. Goober. Oh my goodness, guys. What are y'all going to do with me? Can y'all believe I had forgot to ink the whole entire folio? Yep. I inked the stuff to go on the folio, but I forgot to ink the folio. So I'm just inking it up. And now I need to ink the flaps because I didn't ink them either, and the inside flaps. I don't know where my brain was. I don't have a clue. So I am looking for some string. I had some, again, I'm having to shop my stash and use what I have. And so I did find a roll of Thanksgiving twine. It's not what I would consider the ideal twine for this, but you know what? It worked just fine because we got it to work. That's all that matters. So I am just going to trim off that little frayed end right there. And then I'm just going to trim me off a length of it. And then I want to double it up. And I want to stick both ends into the same hole. And guys, that was giving me troubles too. Yep, I probably should have just deleted this entire video and not even uploaded it. But no, I can't do that to y'all because I've told y'all before I'm going to be transparent. So I push the two ends through the hole, and then I bring those two ends and I push them through the loop back onto itself. So now the next thing that I need to do, and I'm just going ahead and putting that on the other side as well. I'm doing the same thing. I'm doubling it over. I'm taking the two ends and attempting to put it through that hole. That hole there gave me a fit. I don't know why. Like, really, I probably should have just redone this video completely instead of even doing this voiceover, but no. I have pledged to be very open and transparent and honest with you guys, and this was my struggle today. Well, one of them. Between forgetting to ink the folio, forgetting to sew, yeah. So I want to put some sort of a charm on it to give it a little bit of weight. So I am just trying to figure out what I'm going to use. I need something with a big enough hole that both strands of the string can go through it. I did find a little heart that I thought would work, but I was worried because the string was just so thick. So what I done is I got my Fabri-Tac and I put a little tiny dab of Fabri-Tac on the both ends together. And then I took and I kind of pinched them between my fingers to get them, I don't know, like as close together as I could. And then I was able to get it on through. I was surprised how easy I was able to get that one through. Which it doesn't look, but it really was much easier than I thought it would be. So now I'm just going to tie a knot in the end so that that little charm can't come off. And then I can just wrap it around. And you can even do those strings longer. Like if you wanted them to hang out of the little folio, that would look really cute. And so I'm doing the same thing with those two pieces of string. I had to cut them even. Then I'm taking my Fabri-Tac and I'm just putting some Fabri-Tac on it. And I'm just going to pull it up between my fingers. This one didn't go quite as easy as the other one, but I still managed to get it in a relatively short period of time. And for me, that's a win because I really didn't think I'd be able to get it at all. It was giving me some difficulty for sure. And I was so tempted to just tell you guys that I would finish that part off camera, but I couldn't do it. I had to go ahead and just show y'all that no, it really was kicking my booty. And so I tried some more Fabri-Tac and just pulled it as tight as I could, as close together as I could. And then when I finally saw like a little tiny piece of it, like poking through the other side, that's when I was able to grab it and pull it on through. And I was like, oh, thank you, Lord. And so then it's just tying a knot in the end, just so that little charm won't come off. And that just gives it some weight, so it makes it a little easier to close. And so again, I'm being super goofy and I'm like, oh, so the journal's done. I just need to close it. We're done. No, oh no, it was right here. I was saying I needed to go off camera and need to sew. So I've already sewn. I sewed it on the outside and it caught that side and it caught the other side because I made sure that I was about 1/8 of an inch off from each side. So that worked out perfect. And then I thought that I was done, and then I was forgetting to attach the clasp. Just fold it in half. Don't put a hard crease in it. Then go on the back side and the end that I did not corner round. I'm just going to stick in there and just kind of get a general idea of making sure that everything's going to lay right and fit right. When I see that it does, I pull that, and I'm going to put maybe a 1/2 inch or so up of the Fabri-Tac. And you just want to get it coated really good. And then we're going to stick it to the inside of that back pocket. Maybe a 1/2 to a 3/4 of an inch down into it. But you want to make sure you have plenty of the flap left to hang over and tuck down into the front. And so when I think it's dry, which it wasn't completely dry, I'm just going to tuck that flap in and just see how it looks, and it looks so cute. And so there's the journal. So you have that front flap there, you have the back flap, and you can see that I realized then that it was still moving a little bit. I was getting a little overzealous. So there's our flaps. Then we have our inside pockets that are gusseted, so you can put quite a bit in those pockets. And the other gusseted pocket there. And just closing that little clasp back up. And like I said, the charms just give it some weight so it's easier. And then tucking my flap in. And there it is, guys.